Hi, baby, let's go.
Alabama anthem. Don't throw your hands up. Put up your onion. I ain't talking about Atlanta. I'm talking about the ham. I'm talking about the bill. ALABA, this where I live. Alabama, where I was born. Alabama, where I'm from. Alabama anthem. Don't throw your hands up. Put up your onion. I ain't talking about Atlanta. I'm talking about the ham. I'm talking about the bill. ALABA, this where I live. Alabama, where I was born. Alabama.
That was a little weird. Not sure how it is on your end, but it kind of played it again there. What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you today with a bowl preview, tidal wave talk, bowl season edition, Sugar Bowl edition. The Alabama Crimson Tide set to take on the Kansas State Wildcats this Friday, December 31st, to end the year on New Year's Eve in the Sugar Bowl. And boy, do we have an interesting game because Alabama ended up disappointing this season. Kansas State came out of nowhere as a little bit of a surprise when you look at it. And they've done very well. They really have. You know, they got Deuce Vaughn as their running back, Adrian Martinez as their quarterback, and uh, they put together a good offense. They beat teams like Oklahoma, who was ranked number 6 when they played them. They lost to TCU in the regular season, beat them in a rematch, who's now in the college football playoff, but they beat them in the Big 12 title game, of course. They beat teams like Oklahoma State. They lost to teams like Texas, and they beat teams like Baylor, Kansas, Iowa State, Missouri. They already beat an SEC team this year in Missouri. None of those teams are Alabama. I hate to start the video off like that, but I just had to get that out there. Let's just go ahead and cut to the chase. Kansas State has not faced a team like what they're going to face on Friday with Alabama. The spread for this game is Alabama minus 6.5. I think that's a fair spread. I'll get to Alabama in a second. This is the Sugar Bowl. This is the All-State Sugar Bowl. And, Alabama has some history in the Sugar Bowl. Kansas State does not have any history in the Sugar Bowl. This is their first Sugar Bowl appearance ever. However, they do have some bowl history, and they are 10-13 in bowl games all time. All time. Alabama's bowl record in history is 45, 27, and 3. And the last time we saw them in any bowl game, this counts all the championships, by the way. This does. Their 27th bowl postseason, whatever you want to call it, loss was at the hands of the Georgia Bulldogs. Credit for your championship. This counts all the championship appearances and everything. The times they've lost to Clemson, the times they've won a national title with Bear Bryant, the 1992 with Gene Stallings, Nick Saban's national titles. This counts all of it. 45, 27, and 3. They are 9-7 with 16 appearances. This will be appearance number 17 in the Sugar Bowl. 9-7. So it treated them fairly well. At the same time, it's kind of in the Nick Saban era treated them poorly. They've lost to Oklahoma. I think they've lost to, I'll have to double check. I think they lost to Utah. I saw a video a couple weeks ago, when the matchup was first announced. I saw something about, the history of Nick Saban and what he's dealt with in the Sugar Bowl. It hasn't treated him very well. But here's the thing. I want to hear from you guys in the comments. This will be a premiere, so if you're watching along, uh, type in the live chat or whatever. Should Alabama focus on history or worry about the history that they've had in the Sugar Bowl leading up to this game? I personally don't think so. I know we say all the time what records are and history says, and history's doomed to repeat itself. I get it. I understand it. But sometimes new history has to be made. Streaks are meant to be broken. New records are set. Players emerge. Coaching. I could go on and on. I'm kind of getting lost here, but what I'm trying to say is Alabama has not favored well in the Sugar Bowl, at least in the Saban era. They've done okay all time. Most of the Sugar Bowl losses, again, they're 9-7 in the Sugar Bowl. Most of those losses have come in the Saban era. They're good all time. They're good in the Sugar Bowl, but not so much in the history of Nick Saban, not in the Nick Saban era. We'll make this one quick today. How do these teams win this game? I think Kansas State, let's look at them for a second. How can they beat Alabama? Defenses, as far as scoring is concerned, kind of similar. Alabama is giving up less passing yards, less rushing yards, just has a better defense. We know about Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Byron Young. We know all these guys. We know about Jordan Battle in the secondary. We know about maybe a guy in Malachi Moore, Kool-Aid McKinstry. These are names you could probably hear in this game. For Kansas State, when you look at what they have had this year on defense, they have allowed 20 points a game, which I think for a Big 12 team, that's actually pretty good. I think they were one of the more prolific defenses in the Big 12 this year. Julius Brents is a corner. He leads the team in interceptions at 4. Austin Moore is a linebacker, leads the team in tackles, 85. Josh Hayes is a safety, has 66 tackles. Felix and Anudik Uzuma. I don't want to butcher that name. I'll just call him Felix Uzuma. I know the name Uzuma somewhere. There was like an Auburn player years ago, I think. I'm not sure if he's related. I'm not sure. Anyway, Felix Uzuma has 8.5 sacks on the year. He pretty much leads the team. Looking at it as the team has a total of 28 sacks. Julius Brents, I mentioned, is the lead secondary man. He has 43 tackles. He has 4 picks. None taken back for a touchdown. He's forced a fumble. Eli Huggins, a defensive lineman, has recovered a fumble. There's some names on the defense for Kansas State that I think could give Bryce Young a run for his money. I really believe that. I think that, this is no scrub team. I think they have some motivation coming off a Big 12 championship win. They want to do everything, too, by the way, for recently retired Bill Snyder. Kansas State with Bill Snyder was pretty historic. It kind of fell apart there towards the end a little bit. But Chris, I'll say this. I think Coach Kleiman is how you say it. I think Chris Kleiman, he has he's put together something really special this season. Obviously special enough to where Will Howard, the quarterback who played in the Big 12 title game, which, again, I'm not sure. I know they have Adrian Martinez, who was at Nebraska for forever, But Will Howard was the go-to quarterback against TCU when they pulled that upset. What was I going after? Well, let's see. They had good history with Bill Snyder. Is Chris Kleiman trying to fill shoes? In a way, I think for the program wise, yes. I mean, they're not a national college football brand. I'm not saying that as a diss or anything. I'm just saying that, you know, Kansas State is good this year, and they really are. And Alabama should not take them lightly. Look at me. Do not take them lightly. Okay, whatever we do, we go out there, we execute, we dominate, play for 60 minutes, get off the field on third down. Alabama has a chance in this game. They really do. Kansas State has been taken to new heights this season that they have not seen in quite some time, probably ever. Like I said, this is their first time in a Sugar Bowl. This is huge for them. This really is. Alabama, see, that's the thing. You have one team that should be so motivated because they have been in a position now that they have never been in before in Kansas State. Then you got this Alabama team, and it doesn't surprise me that Will and Bryce came back and decided, yeah, we'll play. But they're not exactly where we expected them to be a year ago. We expected them to be back in a national title and probably holding up the trophy. They really blew it this year. And I think it's a coaching problem, not Nick Saban. I blame Bill O'Brien and play calling. I blame the offensive line coach, Eric Wolford. I just, man, that's a whole nother topic for another video. But Alabama's had some issues. Let's look at what ESPN has to say, though. As Kansas State has a 27% chance, Alabama 72.9. You can count it 73. 6.5 point spread. Alabama scoring 40 points a game, 41 almost. Kansas State's around 33. Alabama's giving up 18. Kansas State giving up 20. Bryce Young has over 3,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Will Howard has over 1,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, 2 picks. Deuce Vaughn has gotten more carries than Gibbs. Kansas State is a run-heavy team compared to Alabama. Jahmyr Gibbs does run the ball very effectively when he does see the field. I've heard rumors that we probably would run the ball more in this game, if possible, if at all. I really don't know what to expect. Of course, you got Ja'Cory Brooks out there for the Alabama Crimson Tide and other receiving weapons that have really stepped up this year. You know, I like Jermaine Burton. I think that he's good. I think that I'm trying to think who else we have. I mean, Ja'Cory Brooks, Jermaine Burton. You got Trayshawn Holden. You got Cam Wattu. There has not been a opt-out announced yet that we know of. It seems like everyone wants to be a team player, step up and play this game. And I think that's great. I think that's awesome. This whole you're risking your future if you play in a bowl game, it is ridiculous and retarded if you ask me. Sorry to say it like that. But I say this, if you opt out for a season or a bowl game, you're missing opportunity to put film out for the experts. Honest, if you think about it, they watch your film, they draft you. They watch your film, they draft you. They watch your film based on what? Your practice? No, based on games. How do you play against opponents? I'll say it like this. I think it's amazing that Bryce and Will Anderson are playing. It doesn't surprise me at all. I might have joked here or there like, oh, they'll quit. They'll quit. No, they won't quit. You don't quit on your team. You don't do that. These guys don't. Respect, man. Respect. That being said, I've said everything I need to say. Alabama has all their players. Kansas State, as far as we're concerned, is going to be healthy and ready to go. And this should be a very interesting game. Let's get into our prediction. All right, hey, time for predictions. Again, Alabama has a 73% chance to win, 6.5-point spread in favor of the Crimson Tide. No surprise that they're a favorite. Would they be a favorite, though? Back up a minute. If Will and Bryce decided not to play, hypothetically, I'm not surprised they are. They are team players. But let's say if they weren't and they said, nah, we'll skip it. Would Alabama be a favorite in this game? Probably not, in my opinion. Not that you doubt Jalen Milroe, not that you doubt whoever would step up like Chris Braswell for Will Anderson. You don't doubt those guys, but it's not the same. You know, that's like losing your leadership altogether. Those two guys have been leaders all year long, Will and Bryce. And that's it. I mean, nothing else needs to be said there. I mean, they have been leaders all year long. They have played well. They have dominated. Yeah, we've lost 2 games, but it wasn't their fault. I mean, bad defensive coaching against Tennessee and then a 2-point try or whatever in overtime against LSU. But do you really put that on the players? Not at all. Not at all. Let's go ahead and give a score prediction. The spread is 6.5. I don't know if I expect this to drop. I don't really expect much of anything for spread. I'm not an expert. I'm not a betting expert, man. I'm not going to tell you who to take in the points. I give a score prediction, and I say based on that, I don't have them covering, or I do have them covering. I'll go ahead and give you a score prediction. I think Alabama plays it close and gets the defense involved late in the game. I think it's going to be 24-20. The spread is 6.5. I do not have Alabama covering the spread. It wouldn't surprise me if they blow Kansas State out of the water. But I don't know. I have a gut feeling that there's some momentum going on in K-State that they just came off this Big 12 title. They got something to show. They got something to prove. They want to prove they can hang with the big boys in Alabama and Nick Saban. I think they want to prove that. And I think they'll hang in there a little bit. I really will. I really believe that, I should say. So, but you guys let me know. Maybe I'm being too generous to Kansas State. Maybe I'm giving them too many points. Maybe I'm not giving Alabama enough. I could see it being like a 35-21, 31-14. Nothing would surprise me about this game. It could be a blowout. It could be a shutout. It could be a shootout. It could be close down to the wire like this. I expect Alabama with a big defensive stop at the end and maybe a kneel down for Bryce Young to go out before he heads off to the NFL. There's a lot that could take place. There's a lot that could happen. We'll just have to wait and see. You've been watching Tidal Wave Talk here on Ballard Sports Media. Hey, I appreciate and love each and every one of you. I hope everyone has a happy new year. And I also hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas. I love you. Jesus loves you. He's got a great plan. Please like, comment, and subscribe right here to Ballard Sports Media for more sports content. And until next time, Ballard Sports Media checking out. I love you guys. Roll Tide. Hi, baby. Let's go.
Alabama where I was born, Alabama where I'm from. Don't throw your hands up, put up your onion. I ain't talking about Atlanta, I'm talking about the ham. I'm talking about the deal. ALABA, you make this where I live. Alabama where I was born, Alabama.